When Abraham Lincoln was assassinated in 1865, the entire nation mourned. But no one suffered more than his wife, Mary Todd Lincoln. For the rest of her life, she lived in the shadow of that moment, trying to carry grief too heavy for any person to bear. Mary left the White House and returned to Illinois, hoping to find stability with her surviving sons. Her husband's estate, valued at about $80,000, should have secured her future, yet grief changed everything. Mary feared poverty constantly, even though she still had money. She shopped compulsively, trying to fill a void that could never be filled. Every dollar spent made headlines. Every decision she made was judged. Then, in 1868, her desperation became public. She tried to sell her personal belongings and even asked the public for financial help. Americans were shocked. The former First Lady suddenly became a figure of ridicule. Painfully aware of the shame, Mary fled the country with her youngest son, Tad. They settled in Frankfurt, Germany, supported in quiet kindness by the Seligman family, who paid for travel and assisted her privately. But even far from home, she could not escape heartbreak. In 1871, Tad fell ill and died at just 18 years old. Mary had now buried 3 of her 4 children and a husband. Her grief, already immense, became unbearable. She dressed only in black and lived in constant fear. Although she still possessed $56,000 in government bonds, she reportedly sewed them into her petticoats because she believed someone might steal them. She became convinced that she was being targeted and poisoned. She looked for comfort in spiritual beliefs, including visiting photographer William H. Mumler, whose spirit photograph of Abraham standing behind her was later proven to be a photographic trick. Her only surviving son, Robert Todd Lincoln, watched all of this with growing worry. In 1875, he made a decision that changed both of their lives. He took her to court, arguing that she could no longer care for herself. Doctors testified about her behavior. A jury agreed. Mary was declared insane and committed to Bellevue Place, a private asylum in Illinois. The woman who once stood at the highest position in American society was suddenly locked away, against her will, by her own child. Mary's despair grew so deep that she tried to buy enough laudanum to end her life, but alert pharmacists stopped her. Still, she refused to lose her voice. From inside the institution, she wrote letters to friends who brought her story to the newspapers. Public sympathy shifted. People began to question whether she had been treated fairly or whether she had simply been crushed by life. Under growing scrutiny, Bellevue allowed her release after only 3 months. She moved to live with her sister, Elizabeth Edwards, in Springfield. In 1876, a court restored her legal rights and declared her competent once again. But the damage to her relationship with Robert was deep, and they remained emotionally distant for years. Mary spent more time in Europe, including living in Pau, France, but her health declined steadily. Cataracts nearly blinded her. Falls left her with lasting injuries. When she returned to the United States, she asked Congress for an increased pension. Many still viewed her spending with suspicion, and she fought another difficult battle simply to support herself. Eventually, the pension was granted. Her final years were quiet. She stayed in Springfield under her sister's care. On July 15, 1882, exactly 11 years after Tad's death, Mary collapsed at home. She never regained consciousness and died the next morning at age 63. She was laid to rest beside Abraham Lincoln and their 3 sons who had gone before her.